Creativity is an addiction. It's that one place we go to when we want to feel better or we want to feel lesser. Creativity is that one little place that has so many answers, but yet we question it all the time. Now the question is, do you trust it? Unplugged because we will always say yes to creativity, totally uncut because we all make mistakes, so turn it into a tool. This is Arroe Unplugged.
Hey, it's Arroe, and this is Defrag. We do this during one of my transition walks. A transition walk is how we live our lives. We all go through transitions. You are not the same person that you were when you woke up this morning. By 10 a.m., completely different person. You might be in the same body, but the way you think, the way you act and react, completely different things. Have you ever asked yourself, why? Why am I this way? How can I better understand who it is and why I am? What are my trigger points? And I don't mean trigger points in the way of always being a negative. It's that one thing that puts you in that place. It could be a place of peace. It could be a place of exploration. That's what I love about defragging. You've got to learn to ask the questions. When you think you've got the answer, start asking more questions. This is Defrag. I keep a daily defrag journal as well as I do my morning pages, which were inspired by Julia Cameron's The Artist Way. By the way, she's got a brand new book coming out in January of 2023. Please put your nose in it. Learn those steps. Feel what it's like to be a part of the atmosphere of creativity. But the thing is that when you defrag, the way that I journal versus the one I talk about, what I go through out here on one of these transition walks, two completely different things. And the reason why is because I'm out here to help share a story of recovery in a way of saying, hey, look, there's a big chance that you and I have gone through the same thing, but maybe, like myself, you didn't have somebody to support you along the way. You had some tragic moments, and you stood in these places all by yourself going, well, I guess I'm going to create my own path here. And then when you realize that that path is just a bigger, deeper hole, how do you get out of that? And where is the next step going to come from? While defragging in the journal today, something did occur to me, and I thought, you know what, save it. Save it for the transition walk. Why is it when I ask the questions in the journal that deal with, well, what was 2022 like for you? And my answer was this. It's based upon a feeling. Let's defrag that. What does that mean? It's based upon a feeling. I live a present lifestyle is what I do. Living in the presence of now. Being mindful and grateful of everything that is right now. So to look over the past 52 weeks, it's all based on a feeling. Sure, I keep my daily journals. I can put myself back into those situations, but it doesn't put me back into the mindset that I was going through for that ink to flow. So to be open and honest in the Defrag journal where I said it's based on a feeling, it tells me that, you know what? A brand new year isn't a celebration forward, but rather a reflection of where you just were. Identify the feeling. Learn from the feeling. Don't live in the feeling. Just deal with it and grow from it. And then as you jump into another year, 2023 or 24, you'll understand that feeling was an emotion that had to come out. And so often we allow those emotions to build up, and then we suddenly pop. And then we're going, oh God, now what did I do? Making up our minds to ask questions. We'll ask other people questions. It'll be those types of questions where we go, well, what would you do? What would I do? Oh, well, let me give you my opinion of what I would do. Why don't you ask yourself the same question? Well, what would you do? And let's see what the inner core of your mindset is going to tell you. It may give you an opinion. It may give you a judgment call. It may give you inspiration to go, you know what? I didn't realize I felt that way deep inside. I'm glad I took this moment to defrag. So getting to know who you are is basically a choice. It's something that you've got to do on a daily basis. You've got to learn to trust that inner self that you are, because it's always screaming at you. I wrote this morning in the morning pages, I said that I find great warmth in silence, mainly because all the voices in my head and heart get louder. What exactly does that mean? Let's defrag that. When the voices in your head and heart get louder. Because I'm sure you might have said it sometime. I know I've said it sometimes. It's like, well, get over it. If the voices are so loud, turn them down. That's like saying, hey, The 73% increase in COVID-19 at the end of 2022 here in this county, I can just instantly just turn it off, right? No. So you've got to learn to grow with it, to be aware of it, to study it, to listen to it, and basically to just kind of help pamper it so that when you do have those moments or those feelings, then this way you've got a better grip on trying to grow forward in a way that says, look, I'll give you permission to have that voice, but let's try to get the volume down through understanding. I do these transition walks because in the morning, I have interviews for my podcasts. I produce, I post, I do my marketing. And then I go work at a grocery store, customer service, only because during the pandemic, I was starving for people, and grocery stores and home improvement stores were the only thing that were open. I needed to be with people, and I needed to feed that beast. And that's why I did it. And the thing about it is that once I was there, I learned to enjoy it because I could sit there and have real, honest-to-God conversations with people. But to make that transition from that podcaster into somebody at a grocery store where you go from, I think people are listening, versus, oh my God, there are people here in front of me. It deserves to have a transition. And because, we all have mindsets. We all think we have control of those mindsets. I'm here to say, don't even think about it. Don't even think, because it'll take you on at times when you least expect it, and then you're going to be stuck in a frumpy world wondering, what just hit me? That thought alone reminds me of a conversation that I had with my daughter back in the 1990s, and it wasn't a good moment. And the reason why is because we were having a come to Jesus meeting. We were basically just bearing our souls and what our beliefs are and why we are what we are. And then she looked at me with true love in her eyes and she said, so are all the clouds in your sky pink and purple? Because you know what, I'm not getting your picture, but for some reason you're sold on it. Okay, let's just agree to disagree, and let's just part ways. I would like to defrag that. But the thing is, though, is that I can't. And the reason why I can't is because it's based on a feeling. The feeling of what I feel now versus those days back in the 1990s. Now, my daughter and I are very close these days, and it took a lot of conversation and a lot of rebuilding and understanding. But here's the thing about it. It was me that had to do the rebuilding. It was me who had to take the steps that were needed in order to build a better relationship. Because I guess when it really comes down to it, I haven't really been that people person that I assumed I was. It was a feeling that I was a people person. Then when you start breaking it down and you start seeing the bigger picture, pull that lens back, you realize, okay, we have a starting point now. One of my favorite songs from the Beatles, Paul McCartney and John Lennon singing the song, I got a feeling, oh, I've got a feeling, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I don't know the words, but I have that feeling. And it opens up your heart to say, well, what is your feeling? Let's break it down. There's nobody here to judge you. Are you being honest with yourself right now? Question the questions. And then the answers that you think that you're finding, question them. But don't bring any harsh judgment against the self that you are, because that inner core just wants to have a voice. Sometimes it's okay to tell people, I got voices. Admit it. A lot of people accept that because you know what? They've got voices too. My father was very unique in his way of being in places where I always least expected him. And I'd say, Dad, what are you doing here? I just had a feeling. You had a feeling. Yeah, feeling that you're up to something. And this is one of those moments, dude, where I'm not trusting my feeling, nor do I think that what you're about to do is something that you should trust. But I got a feeling. But it was all based on that feeling. Was he ever right? My feelings are, I don't think he was. But then again, maybe he stopped me from really doing something bad. I guess the moral of this defrag is that we all have feelings, but we don't know the true definition of what the feelings are. We get this feeling in our stomach, or we have a headache, so therefore we feel it's going to be this. It's time to really start listening to the feelings. It's based upon a feeling, not the actual moment. The majority of what you do on a daily basis is based on. That's no different than a movie. The new Whitney Houston coming out. It's based on Whitney Houston's story. Doesn't mean that it's true. It's based on. So what are you basing your feelings on? Your emotions. Those ties into a mindset or a mood swing that you can't break free of. As we enter a brand new year, a brand new season, the reflections, the resolutions, the rebuilding of a better you, you know what? If you stay in your now and you listen to your now, Things are going to be coming up. And it's not going to be based on a feeling because you're living it right now. This is your now. I'm Arroe, and that's defrag.